Okay, I'll be honest, I took a little break. I got the master cylinder mounted, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bleed this baby as per the instructions. One of the things I did learn and I did notice was I actually was, when I took this off when it was on the car to make room to get at my nut, I went at it like a caveman, which I shouldn't have, because there are actually little roll pins here that hold this on. I just ripped it off. It did finally come off and didn't break anything on the other one, which in this case didn't matter. I had a new one. But now when I go to take this off to mount it, I will take these dowel pins, knock these dowel pins out to take this off properly. So I'm going to pour some brake fluid in here. And what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take this brake fluid and, of course, dump it out again, because I'm going to have to take the reservoir off, as I had said. So, but let's get this baby here. We'll do this. We'll fill her up. And I'm going to use this. It says a wooden dowel rod. I've used this before to do this. Never heard anything. Just got. I'm not sure. Maybe I should have kept these caps in. Like, this is different than anyone I've ever bled. And as I've said before, there's always a learning experience for me. Some of this stuff, just as it would be for anyone else. Let's see if it blows these out or. Alright, I should have left them in, because now we're getting the bottom plugs in this I pulled out, and I shouldn't have. Of course, we were blowing all the stuff out of there, and I should have realized that, but hey. Alright, it says to make sure that you can only push this in so far with no air. Air bubbles are out. I'm good with that. So I'm gonna dump the fluid out here, and then what I'm going to do is pull them plugs out, get my seals on, pull this off, my new O-rings I mean, pull this off, and try and get this baby back on. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to leave my plugs in here, and I'm going to get the necessary O-rings on this thing. Now, alright, changed my mind. To be able to do that, I actually have to take these plugs out to get my O-rings in, and the other things here from my kit. So,
she said as you're coming into the borough by Booker's garage, just somewhere up in there, just in that area, looked like a dump truck man or construction truck man lost, or the gate opened up and said there was a lot of stone and rock in the roadway. Yeah, I went all the way up past Booker's, I didn't see anything. About River Hill a little bit.
get my wrench out, we'll take those off. Alright, I have them threaded out. Now they give us all this nice little stuff here. Let me see if I can do this without losing everything. We got these new pieces to put in here. I'm going to put them in because they have new O-rings. They go in here. Now, what I don't like is these are plastic crap. These old ones were metal. I don't know if I like that idea, but that's what we're going to do. They look the same on both ends, so we'll take these out. We'll keep them. And then what I'll do is for the O-rings, I'll get a little bit of my brake fluid over here. Put a little bit on these to push them in.
Station 90, automatic fire alarm. The Ultra Poly Industry inside the VIDA complex at 425 West 3rd Street.
Okay.
Zone 5, DC.
So now we got those in there. Clean this off a little bit. So that takes care of that. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 O-rings that pretty much look the same. So we had 2 O-rings in here, so I'm going to slather them up and put them in here. Get ready to put this together. Trying to get them pushed in there. They want to keep coming out. Alright, just lay it in there. Got enough on my gloves here. We'll put another one in there. Alright, we got that. So the other thing we're going to do is on this side here, there was O-rings. So we'll put the other O-rings on there. Clean these up a little bit. They don't look too bad. Nope, I'm sorry, that's the... Alrighty. Gotta look what I'm doing here. Alright, that's those. Pretty sure the O-rings were on the other side here. These other 2 O-rings. So now, let's see how... Let me put a little bit on here.
Call at Ultra Poly. Fire Department Station 90, cancel call at Ultra Poly for the alarm company, 047.
Okay, so as long as our O-rings stayed there, we'll flip this over. We'll take the O-rings out of the other side here and clean this up a wee bit. I'm not going to go crazy with brake clean and all that stuff. So let's clean that up.
Okay, so it's on like River Hill Drive, just inside Catawissa Township
I want to be careful. I don't want to move those O-rings around in there. So these are slathered up already. I'll do that. I shouldn't have had these laying in the goo like I did, but I did. So let me just slather these up again. Alrighty. I just put the old gaskets in, not the old O-rings in, not watching what I'm doing. So let's rip them back out. And we'll put the new ones in. Getting to be more of a project than what I ever wanted. Okay, and here's the other one. We'll fit them in there. We don't want to have them out of the thing so that they squish before we even get them tight. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now we'll put them down in here. We'll start tightening these.
Station 240 for fluid staff, fire police for traffic control.
Okay, so we're gonna take our inverted torques, tighten these up. Make sure I get them started right. Certainly don't want them to strip out in there. That would really suck. Although it wouldn't be the first time something like that happened. I will be quite honest. And I won't be surprised. I'll try and draw them down evenly here. And there's probably torque specs somewhere on this, but I couldn't find anything in my manuals or the online ones that I have telling me even how to take this apart. So it's going to be what it's going to be. Alright, well now that we have that done, let's put this all together before I take this off. So if you remember, I had the bolts in here to try and keep these. I should have did that in the beginning and I didn't. So we'll just poke and hope here. That's all I can say. We'll put her back together and see how she works, or if she works. You know, I want to make sure these are turned all the way. They were sort of. I'm pretty sure they were all the way back. We'll turn them back as far as we can, but we're gonna have to. Okay. Alrighty, we got it up in there. Whether it's right, wrong, and different, don't know. We'll get some bolts in here, hold it in.
Off the roadway, went across the tracks into the river. There is fluids down, possibly some into the river. And also requesting from the fire police.
Get these tight so this don't fall back down in there. We don't want to do that.
Station 50, with Station 240 for a vehicle accident. 400 block of River Drive, Montreal Township. Station 50 for Squad 51 and manpower for traffic control. Scene of a vehicle accident. 400 block of River Drive, Montreal Township, 0856.
I will say it's taken a lot more time than I really wanted to devote to this, but we'll see how this video turns out. Might not even see the light of day. Okay, now we'll pull these out. Everything clicked and clacked. I don't know whether it's proper click and clack or not, but so let's put the cover on. Okay. So here we are. Back together again. Wah wah wah. So let's go over to the vise, because I'm assuming it'll be the best place here. And what I'm going to do is knock these pins out, the roll pins, knock them back, but I want to do it such, because that's mounted that way, so what I want to do is pound them out this way, so when it's on the car, I can pound them right back in. And that doesn't look like that one's gonna, I should have did that beforehand. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get to that guy now to do it. Well, we can knock one out and then we can come out over this one. So we'll knock, since it goes on this way, we'll knock this one this way so we can pound it back in when it's on the vehicle. We get a punch and hammer. Right? That'll be mounted that way, so we want to knock this guy back out this way. Alright. Well, we got her out good. Let me see if this is going to work now. So what we'll do is we'll get our prying tool again. Probably be a nice flat screwdriver. We'll pry this bugger up. I thought I would. I certainly don't like the way they have that at all. That's tight against. And if I pound it back, I'm going to have to try and get it pounded out that way. I should have did that before I mounted everything. Hindsight's wonderful, so let me see if I can get in there with something and do that. Okay, what I did was I actually pried it off of that pin. I didn't want to do it, but the way it is, if you knock it back, you're not going to get it back out that way because you can't get in there, and you have to do it to get this mounted. So it's basically just the way it is. So we have it off now. Let's go get this mounted and hopefully get this over with, get the brakes bled and see what happens. Okay, so let's see if we can get this baby back in here and get this tightened up. I'm just going to jack her back in there. I only have one bracket here that I have to get out of the way. I turn that down. So let's get this puppy back in there and hope for the best. Alright, so I got the bracket on. Gonna put the nuts on. Get them tightened up. And, of course, I actually put my I hit that pin, I think, the opposite way than what I wanted to, but, you know, it's just been one of them damn projects for me, I'll tell you. Now I want to try and tighten these up evenly because there is a rod back in there that fits in that piston. You want to try and get all that done right. lift up on her a little bit, get her lined up. Alright, I'm going to go full gun on that bugger. And we'll tighten this one up too. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to set that back on, my reservoir, put the pins back in, put these back on, put my wiring back on, this wire and the two there, and then I'll be back and we'll see about, I'll show you when it's done. Then I'm going to bleed the brakes out. I'm not going to show that, and we'll see how it works. So I'll be back. Okay, I got the battery in, got that filled up, got stuff going. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to bleed the brakes. I think there's enough people showing how to do that, so I'm going to try to get this system bled, and we'll see what happens from there. And then we'll take her for a ride, hopefully with some brakes back, and that's where we'll go from. Okay, here's the end story. Put it back together, took her for a run. Seemed to be brakes were doing pretty good, had pretty good pedal. Stepped on it pretty good to see if the ABS would come on. Well, sort of lost all the brakes. Looking underneath, I see a puddle. I think I may have found, well, there's another problem now. I know the lines were rotted. I think that one blew apart. I'll show you where it's at here and what's happening. I didn't get underneath yet, but I'll show you that, and then I'm going to cut this video off. When I start replacing that line, which I'm thinking it is, then we'll make another video. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a little trail there like a hit deer coming here. And if you look right there, I definitely got a major puddle. So I'm going to see what it is. I'm assuming it's a piece of line. We'll replace what we have to. Alright, that's the end of this video. Once again, this is Mike, the disgruntled mechanic, saying if you can get somebody else to do it, you're probably better off.